Hey everyone, it's me Josh, aka Future Filmmaker Drown Fraser here once again, and I got a good response to my updated Star Wars ranking that I did in under 9 minutes, and that is doing pretty good on my channel, so I decided to do the same thing with a top 10 with my most underrated of 2017 and my most surprising overrated of 2017. The most surprising and overrated is in the same list, so I'm not going to record that video until I'm done with this one. This one is my most underrated of 2017, and we have 7 picks, and let's see how long I can go for 11 minutes with each 7 picks. This is my opinion. If you don't like the choices, don't get angry. We can agree to disagree. Let's get so at number 7 we have Kidnap. Kidnap starred Halle Berry. It was a movie that was shelved for a very long time after it was done filming, and it got pushed back to this year, and the result was a lot of people did not like Kidnap. I don't know why, because Kidnap I thought was a criminally underrated movie that deserved more. It's basically a good thriller with Halle Berry trying to find her son, and this movie I thought was pretty good with that story. It does get crazy in the action sequences. There is some crazy editing, and there is some moments in here that are questionable, but I feel like the Kidnap was just wronged and misunderstood for all the wrong reasons, and it didn't deserve that bad at the box office. It was just released after being shelved for a long time, people. So I guess you people should let that go, because this is a really enjoyable film, and I do think coming in number 6 is Blade Runner 2049. Now, if you've seen my review of this movie, I have given this movie every ounce of praise that I've given it, and I think this movie is an underrated movie because the movie was positively received by critics and audiences, but the problem is it didn't do as well as it should have at the box office. It only made $257 million overall, and I felt like the movie should have made more than that, because this movie was smart, it was intelligent, it was everything that I expected the Blade Runner sequel to be. And the first Blade Runner I loved a lot, and this one I think is a magnificent work of art. I think the acting still holds up. I still think the performances are great. Everything about this movie is great. I did have some minor issues, but the reason that this movie didn't underperform was I guess a lot of people did not go see the film because of the runtime. And the runtime, you have to take that into account, that this is a long movie. It's not going to have a lot of action in it. So if you can look past the fact that it's not going to have a lot of action in it, you might end up enjoying this movie for good what it is. And I think that this movie is still a magnificent work of art that definitely needs to be seen once it comes out on Blu-ray and DVD and digital high definition on January 16th of next year. And I'm definitely getting this movie. With the number 5 is Ghost in the Shell 2017, starring Scarlett Johansson. I know this movie did not do well either, but this movie didn't deserve the backlash it got, especially for the whitewashing thing with Scarlett Johansson. Come on, are you kidding me? Sure, it's not R-rated and it's not as good as better than the original 1985 classic, but for a PG-13 version of Ghost in the Shell, I thought it was just what it needs to be. It got to the point, the visuals were cool, it did have some character issues and some other problems that I did mention in my original review, but I still think Ghost in the Shell didn't deserve all of the backlash it got. Scarlett Johansson was great. The effects are good. I do love the music. I think this is a pretty underrated film that did deserve to bomb, because if this movie made more money, I think this movie would have had a much more better box office critical reception, and I think that we would have gotten a sequel to this, because I would have loved to see a sequel to Ghost in the Shell. But unfortunately, because of the backlash and the whitewashing, that's not going to happen now. But Ghost in the Shell 2017, I think, is a pretty interesting movie, and it's a pretty awesome movie at best. Coming in number 4 is Saban's Power Rangers 2017. I know there's been backlash towards this movie because of the choices that they made. I don't mind Trini's gay. I don't mind that they made Billy autistic. But it does have some good things going for it, and it does have some good action. Yeah, Elizabeth Banks' Rita Repulsa is over the top and silly, but that's Rita Repulsa in the original show, and I think the characters' development of all the Rangers work. There is a little bit too much product placement, and it does take a while for something to happen, but I appreciate the characters' tone. I appreciate the tone that they went with. I know this movie is not going to be for everyone, but I think there is more good in this movie than bad, and I feel like this movie deserves another shot. And the home media sales, at least, I don't know how much it did in the home media sales, but I do want to see more of this version of Power Rangers, because I do think that there can be some improvements on this version. But I don't know if that's going to happen now. Number 3 is Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Man Tell No Tales. While this is not as good as On Stranger Tides, I still think that Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man Tell No Tales, and On Stranger Tides are by far major improvements over Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. This fourth one and fifth one succeeded at everything at World's End tried to do, but half the time failed. They're both short. They have the spirit of the first one. They're not too dark. There's not a whole lot of Orlando Bloom and Keira Knightley, and there's no Elizabeth Swann annoying the heck out of me. But Johnny Depp is great as the main character, because Jack Sparrow is the main character of these movies for me. I don't care about all the bullcrap people says that Will and Elizabeth are the main characters. No, Jack is the main characters, because Johnny Depp's name comes first. I do love the villain, Javier Bardem. I like the two replacements and the sacrifice that Barbossa made at the end of the movie, which is pretty great. It did have some problems in some areas, but Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Man Tell No Tales, I think, is a very underrated movie. I think this movie deserves more than it gotten, and I feel like there will be a sixth movie, but do not bring back Elizabeth and Will Turner, and don't bring back Davy Jones. Just get a different villain and keep Will and Karina, because I think that would be a much better step than to bring Orlando Bloom and Keira Knightley back, because then I'll have to tolerate Keira Knightley again for a fourth time. Coming in number 2 is Kong Skull Island, and this movie, a lot of mixed reception towards it. Yes, some of the character development isn't that strong, and it could have been improved on, but I feel like that the movie got right what it needs to get. It's a fun monster film at best. I do think the acting is great from Tom Hiddleston, Brie Larson, Samuel Jackson, John Goodman. I think the motion capture work from Kong is really great. I do think the action, the monster stuff is pretty good, and I'm looking forward to seeing what else they're going to do in this monster verse after Godzilla 2. And King Kong vs. Godzilla is going to be awesome. I can't wait to see how the Legendary Pictures Monsterverse puts Godzilla and King Kong together. This is not by far a perfect movie, but it is a much better movie than what critics say. And this is still my second favorite King Kong movie, because the best Kong movie will always be the 2005 Peter Jackson one. Even though it's long, I don't mind the length. Number 1 for the most underrated film of 2017 so far is Baywatch. Baywatch with The Rock and Zac Efron. This movie got hammered by everyone, and but the movie was somewhat a success at the box office, but I do like the film what it was trying to do. I get what they were trying to do. It was being funny. There was some jokes that could have felt out of place, but it's alright. It still had good acting from The Rock and Zac Efron. You do have your usual hot girls: Alexandra Daddario, Kelly Rohrbach, Priyanka Chopra. And this is not a bad debut for Kelly Rohrbach, because she was pretty good here. I do hope that Paramount does make a sequel to this, because I want to see how more they can progress with the film. And it's probably not going to happen, but I think Baywatch is a pretty underrated comedy film from this year that didn't deserve the flack it got. It's a much better movie than what people say it is. So is Blade Runner 2049, because Blade Runner 2049 is not a boring movie at all. It's a pretty entertaining film, and Baywatch is a pretty entertaining film. Despite problems with Baywatch, I think it's much better than what people make it out to be. So that is my honest feeling. Those are my top 7 most underrated movies of 2017. Let me know what you guys think. What is your underrated list? Do you like my picks? Do you not like them? I will see you guys in another video. And if you like this, you can come here and we can have a good time. We can have friendly conversation. Stick around for my most surprising and overrated films of 2017 video coming very soon. I will see you guys later, and bye.